Well, not got much of a choice here, have I?
What do you get when you cross Doom with Dungeons and Dragons? Heretic is a Doom clone in which you play as the henchiest elf in the realm. And when I say Doom clone, I'm not being flippant, it's literally built on Doom's engine. Nor is it a reflection on the game's quality, because Heretic is as unique an FPS as one could have hoped for in 1994. Mainly because there are no guns. Instead, you're thrown in with a magic wand and a stick, with an arsenal of medieval fantasy gear out there to find. In terms of weapons, a lot of the early ones definitely evoke those from Doom, but are distinct enough so that they don't end up just being copies. The ethereal crossbow is one of the most satisfying weapons I've ever used in an FPS, and the Dragon Claw is a lot of fun despite being kinda chunky on screen. And as always, the stick has the weediest attack animation despite being the default melee weapon. Yeah, poke that golem. Nice one. There are a good variety of enemies as well. Not that I saw very many, admittedly I only played the first 3 levels, but the enemies I came across were fair and balanced and there weren't too many different types. It wasn't overwhelming. However, I did find that there was a slight over-reliance on monster closets. Not only that, but there are gargoyles literally everywhere. Heretic makes a number of improvements to Doom's engine. The most obvious thing is that you now have an inventory, and certain items can be held onto for later use, which is an excellent feature. In fact, find a modern FPS that doesn't borrow this idea in some capacity. This one little change I think brought about the genesis of the looter shooter. Know what else? You now have the uncanny ability to look up. Beautiful, ain't it? Someone should take a picture. My main complaint at this early stage in the game is that the textures are all a little bit samey. There's a lot of grey and brown. Once again, to draw comparisons to Doom, that game had a lot of blue and green around the place. Heretic uses a much more natural palette, but in doing so it loses a lot of that personality. Perhaps it improves later on in the game as there are 5 whole episodes to play through in this cd-rom release. Otherwise, it just feels super fluid to play as one would expect from a Doom engine game. It's just satisfying to barrage bad guys with beefy blasters until they billow into a blur of blood and body bits. And of course there's many other ways to play it today, including the famous GZ Doom, which is perhaps the best way to play it on modern systems. Otherwise you can play Chocolate Heretic, which gives you that retro feel, or just go with the original DOS version if you're feeling particularly masochistic. Verdict: 000 is magic, you know.